2 days ago, the Oregon Ducks were completely dominated by the Baylor Bears in what reserve point guard Peyton Pritchard called a humiliating effort. Nathan Ryan and the other 13.5% of students on campus who partake in 41 club sports teams now are wondering where they will receive the money they have always gotten from the ASUO for their athletes to be part of a team. Remember last season when Oregon baseball barely finished 500 and missed the postseason? Well, that terrible year might be in the rearview mirror. Eugene Police Lieutenant Eric Klinko does believe that police intervention is a solution. He also believes that rest stops, job fair programs, and housing need to play a vital role. The Ducks were given a 3 seed in the Midwest region by the NCAA Tournament Selection Committee on Sunday. In the Ducks bracket is Purdue, the 4 seed, 2nd seed Louisville, and top-ranked Kansas. After coming into the season with sky-high expectations, the Oregon Ducks have won their 2nd straight Pac-12 championship in an 80-59 demolition of the Oregon State Beavers here in Corvallis. Chapter 49, verse 10 of the Quran, the Holy Book of Islam, states, "Humanity is but a single brotherhood, so make peace with your brethren." Dylan Brooks single-handedly lit up Arizona State Sun Devils for 27 total points, including 12 straight to end the game in a 71-70 win. Now, let's get to the big one. Arizona-Oregon was supposed to be a possible college game day destination, but was instead a complete humiliation of the Wildcats. The Ducks earned a Matthew Knight Arena record 16 threes en route to an 85-58 annihilation. Since he was small, David Peterson knew baseball was his future.
My mom, she always tells a story about, I was like 3 years old and I walked into her room with my glove on my hand and said, "Mom, I want to play in the big leagues." And she kind of turned to me and said, "Well, you better go out there and start practicing some more."
So since that conversation at age 3, the boy from Denver has worked to become a big leaguer. And now, after a stellar season, it seems like a jump to the majors is all but inevitable. The Oregon lefty has taken the nation by storm. Petey, as his teammates call him, finished 2017 with an 11-4 record to go along with a 2.51 ERA and a school record 140 strikeouts. Peterson has earned first-team All-American honors and has been named to first-team All-Pac-12, along with being a semifinalist for multiple individual awards. Punch-out after punch-out, Peterson has solidified himself as one of the most dominant pitching prospects coming out of college. But Peterson's story isn't just about how he achieved his childhood dreams. In November 2004, when Peterson was just 9 years old, his life came crashing down. His father, Doug, the trainer for the Triple Crown champion Seattle Slew, suddenly died after an accidental drug overdose.
I just kind of broke down. I was sitting there, I remember my mom was on the phone. We were sitting in a baggage claim at LAX waiting for my grandparents to come, and I just remember her kind of being on a phone, and I knew it wasn't a good phone call. I didn't know what it was about or who she was talking to, and then when she got off the phone, she kind of told me the news, and it was just kind of like I felt everything just kind of crash. It just, all the emotions came right away, and it just felt like everything was falling apart.
But only hours after learning of his father's death, Peterson took to the mound that night.
My parents and grandparents were kind of like, "No, you don't have to go," this and that, and went to my room, put my jersey on, and went right to the car. And so they kind of knew I wanted to go to play baseball, and went out and threw a no-hitter.
He says his father was right by his side. Over the next 5 years, Peterson continued to frustrate opposing teams. When he began high school ball, Peterson's focus was on the draft. He had 2 options: get drafted to the MLB out of high school, or get a college scholarship and leave after college. After a Colorado State championship his freshman year, followed by dominant sophomore and junior years, being drafted out of high school seemed realistic to Peterson. Then, another setback. In his senior year, while playing pickup basketball with friends, Peterson landed wrong on one foot.
I thought maybe I dislocated my ankle or something like that, and then I got to the hospital and they took some x-rays and they told me that I had broken my leg in 2 places, and that's kind of when everything was like, okay, what just happened? how's this going to affect me?
Being drafted out of high school was no longer a sure bet. Peterson was picked, but in the 28th round of the 2014 MLB draft by the Boston Red Sox. To Peterson, the financial reward of being drafted that low wasn't enough to persuade him to turn pro. Instead, the University of Oregon came into play.
I wouldn't say it was a fallback option, but I definitely wasn't 100% committed on going to school.
His first 2 years as a Duck, Peterson struggled with his command, and head coach George Horton sometimes could not trust Petey going more than 4 or 5 innings. Now, despite struggles on the mound in college and hardships growing up, Peterson has molded himself into a projected first-round draft pick.
It'd be a dream come true. There's obviously there's so much honor with being selected in the first round and being at the top of the draft, and just gonna kind of let the cards fall where they may and see what happens.
Whatever happens, Peterson says he knows his family is his real strength.
If there's another setback or whatever it is, I'm definitely going to lean on them and do like I've done in the past and just fight it head on and kind of get through it.
Armen Araradian, Oregon News. The life of a fighter is usually harsh. Such is the same for University of Oregon freshman Jack Good. Good, a wrestler in high school who was offered scholarships to the top wrestling programs in the nation before he tore his labrum and dislocated his shoulder, is working his way towards becoming an MMA fighter and the next UFC champion of the world. But, while most fighters want to step in the octagon for money and fame, Jack is in it for a different reason. For his mother.
My mom was working 3 jobs, and I remember that. In order for me to wrestle, we couldn't afford food, so my mom, she didn't eat for like 3 or 4 days, and she gave me a jar of peanut butter for a week to go out and wrestle. And it's just, my mom did everything possible for me to go out there and have a chance at being successful, and she put me before herself, and no matter what happened, she would put food on the table for me and my sisters and my brother. So that's why I want to be what I want to be and do what I want to do and be successful to take care of her, because she did stuff for me that I don't think anybody else would, and she put herself through a lot of pain and hardships just to be able to give me an opportunity to be successful.
Mixed martial arts is a violent sport that people have died from. But the violence Jack experienced at a young age is not from MMA. Instead, it is what caused him to fall in love with it.
My dad had an affair, maybe multiple, I'm not sure. My dad would go out and do business. Sometimes when he'd get home, like, everybody would find out, and be a lot of arguing and screaming, and sometimes stuff happened, like it got physical, stuff like that. Him and my mom, stuff like that, and then I'd try to get into it and defend my mom. When you're young, you don't know how to handle it, and you're just angry, and you just hate the world, and you want to look for somebody to blame, and you're just mad. But then as I grew up older, I found MMA, and it gave me an opportunity to harness my energy and my anger and put it into something that I could be really good at. I always found a passion in MMA and like a bunch of different martial arts because I always thought about defending my mom. Sometimes I was in circumstances where I had to defend my mom and stuff like that, and I always thought about, I don't want anybody to hurt her. For me, it was always about defending the people I care about, and this was the best way I knew how to do it. I can't let her down. I can't, it's just not an option. Like, I would rather die in that ring than lose, and that's just because my mom, I want to be able to give her the life she's always wanted before she passes away, and I guarantee I will.
When he gets back to his home in Los Angeles this summer, Jack will be competing in amateur MMA fights. He continues to wake up at 6 in the morning to train every day at the U of O to be prepared when he gets that phone call from UFC president Dana White. His message: I'm coming for that belt. Don't believe me? Just wait and see. For Duck TV Sports, I'm Armen Araradian. Back to you at the desk. Ever since Mark Helfrich was fired back in November, Oregon football has seen a ton of changes. Willie Taggart was brought in from USF to be the next head coach, along with his staff from all around the country from programs like Alabama and Colorado. Win the Day has been replaced by Do Something, and the program's culture has seen sweeping changes. Players like wideout Darren Carrington have already started to notice the changes.
They definitely instill that new intensity of just butting heads and just having that camaraderie and competing against each other every time.
The new staff hasn't only changed the way they approach their jobs on the field. Taggart staff heavily uses Twitter and other social media to connect with their players and engage with recruits off the field. Taggart himself has even said that he plays a Madden video game with the team. Running back Royce Freeman explains how that helps the team bond.
It just shows them trying to bond with the players, trying to make connections, you know, just trying to be on our level for once. I mean, it's different seeing that from coaches.
Armen Araradian, Oregon News.